Hello students, welcome to the another session of Environmental Science. I am Utkarsh Suryavanshi, Assistant Professor at AISSMS College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Pune. In this session, we are going to learn about the forest ecosystem part 3. So let us go through the objectives of the session. First, the various services provided by the forest. Second, the conservation of forest ecosystem. Third, the various threats to forest ecosystem. Fourth, the CHIPCO movement. And at last, we are going to summarize the topic. So let us understand the first objectives, which are the various services provided by the forest. Forest, as we all know, provide various kind of services to animals as well as human beings. To name a few, we are going to list them into 8 things, which is first, oxygen production, second, climate regulation, third, biodiversity conservation, fourth, water regulation, fifth, soil formation and protection, sixth, pollination, seventh, carbon sequestration, eighth, recreation and tourism, ninth, medicinal resources, and 10th, cultural and spiritual values. So let us understand these services in much detail. First, the oxygen production. As we all know, the forests are the major contributors to the production of oxygen through a process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process by which plant converts their carbon dioxide into oxygen. This oxygen plays a very crucial role for the respiration of both animals and human beings as well. Second, climate regulation. Forests play a vital role in regulating the climatic nature of the environment. It absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and helps us to mitigate the greenhouse effect. It also helps to stabilize the global temperature as well, thus help in maintaining the environment temperature. Third, biodiversity conservation. As we all know that the forests are a home to vast species of plant and animals. Forests provide habitat, food and shelter for various countless organisms, and it also contributes significantly to the global biodiversity. Next, water regulation. Forests are the major system to regulate the water as well. It helps to regulate the water cycle by absorbing and storing rainwater, which also helps in reduction of soil erosion, prevent floods, and maintain the stable water flow in rivers and streams as well. They also play a pivotal role in replenishing the groundwater, which is very much needed for human beings as well. Next will be soil formation and protection. Forests contribute to the soil formation through a process called decomposition of organic matter, the accumulation of nutrients as well. The dense vegetation and root system in the forest also help to hold the soil in place, resulting in prevention of soil erosion. Next will be pollination. As we all know, many forest plants rely on pollinators such as bees, butterfly, and birds for reproduction. Forests provide habitat and food sources for these pollinators, which in turn they support the agricultural productivity by pollinating the various crops, helping the sustainability of various resources inside the environment. Next will be carbon sequestration. Forests act as a carbon sinks which absorbs and stores carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. This also helps to mitigate the climate change by reducing the concentration of greenhouse gases such as methane and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Next will be recreation and tourism. Forests offer a wide array of opportunities for recreation and tourism purposes. To name a few, some of the activities which are very prevalent in forest are hiking, camping, bird watching, and nature photography. These activities contribute not only to the local economies but also promote the physical well-being and mental well-being of humans as well. Next will be medicinal resources. If you want to talk about the most important service which are provided by the forest, this will be the first one. Many plant species which are found in forest have a medicinal properties and are used in traditional medicine systems around the world. It provides a very rich source of natural medicines which are contributing to the human health and well-being. Cultural and spiritual values. Forests hold a significant role in cultural and spiritual significance for many indigenous communities around the world. They are often associated with traditions, rituals, and spiritual beliefs, playing a central role in cultural identity and heritage. As we have discussed the various services, forests offer a diverse range of services that are very much essential for both ecosystem and human as well. These services provided by the forest have their very much importance for the ecological integrity and human prosperity as well. Protecting and sustaining the forest ecosystem is very much essential for ensuring their continued support for these valuable services. Next will be the conservation of forest ecosystem. Forests are among the most diverse and productive ecosystem on earth. It provides a wide range of essential services to both nature and humanity. Conservation of forest is of paramount importance to maintain certain ecological balances, to provide biodiversity, and to provision of various vital services as well. We will go through this conservation processes and why it is much more important to help them to prevail the mechanism of conservation. First one, biodiversity preservation. Forests harbor an immense diversity of plant and animal species inside the environment. Some of the species are very unique and endemic as well. The conservation efforts aim to protect this biodiversity by preserving their natural habitats, preventing habitat destruction, and combating with the threats which are deforestation, habitat fragmentation, and invasive species. Preserving biodiversity ensures the resilience of forest ecosystem against the various environmental changes which are happening, and it also enhances the capacity to adapt and evolve in the environment. The resources which are provided by the forest must be utilized efficiently. Activities like poaching and hunting of wild animals should be prevented as well. The reserves and various protected areas should be developed keeping in mind the design of the environment. Next will be sustainable management. Sustainable forest management practices are there to seek balance among the ecological, economic and social objectives of the environment. It also ensures the long-term health and productivity of forest. The various strategies which are included in sustainable management are selective logging, reforestation, agroforestry and community-based conservation initiatives. Sustainable management aims to meet the human needs for various kinds of products like timber, fuel wood and other forest products. It also maintains the ecosystem integrity and biodiversity. At all costs, the deforestation should be strictly prohibited as well. Public awareness should be created regarding the various sustainable practices which are very much essential and important for forest conservation. Next will be habitat restoration. Many forest ecosystems have been degraded or fragmented due to the human activities such as logging, agriculture and urbanization. Habitat restoration involves restoring degraded forests to their natural state through various activities like reforestation, afforestation and habitat rehabilitation. Restoring habitats enhances biodiversity, it improves functioning of ecosystem and supports the recovery of various endangered species as well. Habitat restoration is important for various reasons, from the aesthetic value to the recreational to the economic and pragmatic value as well. Habitat restoration can be done at individual level by the various people. Next will be water resource management. Water resource management is an activity or a process of planning, developing, distributing and managing the optimum use of water resources. Forests play a pivotal role in regulating the water cycle by absorbing and storing rainfall. It also reduces soil erosion and maintains water quality as well. Conservation efforts which are aimed to protect watersheds, prevent soil degradation and also maintain natural hydrological processes. Healthy forests contribute to the availability of clean water for various purposes like drinking, agriculture and industry as well. It benefits both the ecosystem and human communities. If you take a look in some part of the world, there are wind traps technology that extract water from the air as a form of water harvesting. Next will be community engagement and stakeholder participation. Successful forest conservation requires value or involvement from various corners of the world. The active involvement of local communities, indigenous people, governments, NGOs and stakeholders are of paramount importance. Community-based conservation initiatives should empower local communities to participate in the decision-making process. It manages natural resources sustainably and it benefits the ecosystem services as well. There should be a collaborative effort from all the communities to foster social equity, the governance strengthening, and enhancing the effectiveness of conservation effort. We can always ensure the long-term health and resilience of forest ecosystem for future generation if you keep in mind the various points which have been mentioned before. Now let us understand the various threats to forest ecosystem. First will be deforestation, illegal logging, forest degradation, forest fragmentation, invasive species, climate change, wildfires, and overexploitation of resources. Let us understand in detail. Deforestation, as we all know, is the conversion of forest land to non-forest use such as agriculture, urbanization, and infrastructural development. It is one of the most significant properties or threat to forest ecosystem worldwide. Deforestation leads to habitat loss, biodiversity decline, soil erosion, and disruption of ecosystem function. Next will be illegal logging. Illegal logging involves the harvesting, transporting, and trading of timber products in violation of laws and regulation which are there made by the government. It is a widespread problem in many countries which is driven by the demand for the timber products. There is a lack of enforcement and weak governance as well. The illegal logging leads to deforestation, loss of biodiversity, and degradation of forest ecosystem. It should be underlined that the sustainable forest management should be there, and local communities should be involved in livelihood opportunities as well. Next will be forest degradation. Forest degradation refers to the decline of health, quality, and productivity of forest ecosystem due to various human activities such as mining, unsustainable land use practices. It includes activities that damage the forest ecosystem as well. Various practices such as selective logging, fuel wood collection, and overgrazing are some of the prominent examples of forest degradation. Next will be forest fragmentation. Forest fragmentation occurs when large contiguous forest landscapes are divided into smaller isolated patches due to human activities such as agriculture, road development, and urban development as well. Forest fragmentation disrupts the ecological processes, it reduces habitat connectivity, and increases the edge effect, leading to changes in species composition. Fragmented forests are more susceptible to further degradation and loss. The next threat to forest ecosystem will be invasive species. Invasive species are the non-native plants, animals, and microorganisms that establish and spread rapidly in a new environment and often cause harm to the native species of the ecosystem. It can outcompete native species for various resources. It can alter ecosystem dynamics, disrupt food webs, and degrade the habitat quality as well. Invasive species pose a significant threat to forest biodiversity, ecosystem resilience, and provision of various services of the ecosystem. Next threat will be the climate change. Most important thing which are happening to the forest is due to the climatic changes which are happening inside the world. It also alters the temperature and precipitation patterns, leading to the shift in forest ecosystem worldwide. Rising temperature levels, change in precipitation level, and extreme weather events such as drought, floods, and wildfires are impacting forest health and productivity and distribution activities are also getting affected. Various altered species interaction and ecosystem dynamics has posed a significant challenge for forest conservation and management. Next will be the wildfires. Wildfires are natural or it may be human caused fires as well. It burns in the forested area, often resulting in significant ecological and economic damages. Climate change, land use change, and forest management practices can influence wildfire frequency, intensity, and severity. Large and uncontrolled wildfires can destroy forests, which will kill the wildlife, degrade the soil quality, and disrupt the various processes of ecosystem. They also pose a risk to human lives, property, and infrastructure as well. Next will be overexploitation of resources. As we all know, forest has provided various kind of services to the human being and animals as well. At no point of given time there should be an overexploitation of these resources. Various products of timbers and unsustainable logging, hunting, and harvesting practices can lead to habitat destruction, and it is a kind of overexploitation as well. It also undermines the resilience of forest ecosystem and compromise their ability to provide essential services. Next, we are going to talk about a very famous movement which is known as Chipko movement. It is also known as a tale of environmental activism and forest conservation. Chipko movement, also known as Chipko Andolan, emerged in the early 1970s in India. It is one of a grassroots environmental movement which is aimed at protecting forest and promoting sustainable development. It was originated in the Himalayan region. The movement gained national and international attention for its non-violent resistance to deforestation and advocacy to community-based forest management. The region's forests, vital for water conservation, soil stability, and biodiversity, were under threat from commercial logging, mining, and large-scale development projects. The movement traces its roots back to the village in Mandal in the state of Uttarakhand, which was formerly a part of Uttar Pradesh state. In 1973, local women led by environmental activists named Mr. Sundarlal Bahuguna hugged the trees to prevent them from being felled by the loggers. This act of non-violent resistance, also known as Chipko or tree hugging, inspired similar protests across the various regions. Women played a very central role in the Chipko movement, highlighting their deep connection to the forest and their concern for the well-being of their families and communities which have been staying there inside the forest. The Chipko movement left a lasting legacy in India and beyond, inspiring subsequent environmental movement and influencing the various policies on forest conservation, sustainable development, and community participation. It highlighted the importance of grassroots activism, indigenous knowledge, and women's leadership and environmental stewardship. So if we want to summarize this topic in conclusion, protecting and conserving forest ecosystem is very paramount to ensure their continued provision of vital services and maintaining the health and resilience of the planet. By addressing threats to the forest ecosystem, promoting sustainable practices, recognizing the multiple values of forest and services which are provided by the forest, Despite the challenges they face, forests provide a wide range of valuable services that are very much essential for ecological integrity and human well-being. These services include oxygen production, climate regulation, water regulation, soil formation, etc. Thank you.